let's divert back into AI for a minute. But
Yeah.
you're doing like AI for HRF these days, right? Like, what's
Yes.
the why do human rights activists care about AI? Like, isn't it just a big centralized nightmare that's gonna eat us all?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I kind of think that the two groups that like, it's like very bimodal thing. It's
Hmm.
like the people that really care about AI are like the really, really big guys, right? Like governments and
Yeah.
militaries and big companies and stuff. And then the little guys, right?
Hmm.
Like small business people. Like they're the ones I think who are leveraging it the best probably. And then in the middle, it's like you have Apple Intelligence and Microsoft Copilot is shit that doesn't work, and it's mostly vaporware. Like it's kind
Yeah.
of funny, right? Like Palantir probably really works, right? And
Yeah.
like, but then at the local level, it's like if you're an activist or something, you have like a few people and just a tiny bit of money, and you're trying to like, uh, t- uh, t- you know, you're trying to fight something that's much much more powerful than you. So any sort of like productivity increase is, really goes a long way. And so, like that's why I think the activists find it appealing and need it, and why we want to provide better tools for them to access these things. And they have kind of unique requirements because they're sometimes they're dealing with kind of sensitive information. So stuff like local AI, which is still kind of a work in progress, but it's getting there. And then stuff that's like end-to-end encrypted using like Maple or other things like that. They're starting to, Maple's been in pretty good shape for a couple, 6 months, and there's more options like that coming, and hopefully we can have it easier for developers to build tools like this, tools like Maple, to host and run tools like that without having to, go through AWS or something like that.
Hmm.
So yeah, those are the, kind of why they need it and what they need. And then also just, like they'll use it, many of them will use it on their own, and we want to make sure that we kind of educate them, and so they know what the risks are, because there are a lot of risks in your, like it's kind of like one of the things that's kind of terrifying to me is like, no, chat like ChatGPT can probably identify me by my typing very, very well at this point, like for all the typing I've done into Codex and Claude and all these things, it's like,
Yeah.
man, I could probably type a sentence on any keyboard in the world, and if it's plugged into the right GPU in their data
They'll figure
center,
it
they'll know it's me, right? So
out. It's like,
I'll have to like do the index finger typing or something if I ever have an important message, right? So you leak all this metadata as you
hmm.
go, and just kind of like there's a research study a couple weeks ago that was like, basically saying like, I can identify NIMs with like a 99% accuracy, just based on their writing style. So if you had like
Fuck.
a NIM account 5 years ago, it's like anybody who wants to can figure out it was you, which is kind of terrifying. So yeah, there's all kinds of metadata that is leaked, and it's really difficult to cover your tracks if you want to be private. So
Yeah.
just educating on that is important.
That's a tough one as well. I mean, I know one of the things, I mean, Andy talked about a lot is that the people that are going to benefit from a lot of this tooling right now, as you said, like there's huge governments, as well, they
Yeah,
obviously have their nefarious reasons for why they care
sure.
about this stuff. And then beyond that, it's anybody that is like super high agency.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like all the people that like I met with the activist groups and things that we did in the past were like, if there's anything that you would describe those people as, it's like super
yeah.
high agency. It's like, all right,
Yeah,
I'm
people
gonna
can do a
I'm
lot
gonna
for
have a
nothing.
crack at my government. Like, what
Yeah,
have you got? Well, there's about 7 of us, and we've got
yeah,
a Telegram group or something. And you're like,
yeah,
oh fucking hell, like
yeah. And we all have jobs. We all have
go.
jobs and families, and yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's yeah. I mean, it's kind of funny. It's like, yeah, it's like one way I think about it, it's like we're almost going back to being like a frontier society. Like you
Hmm.
imagine, I'm from the U.S., right? You imagine, or imagine Australia at the same time frames, right?
Hmm.
The people who really thrived in that first couple generations were not the smartest guy.
Yeah.
Not the one who could get through a PhD or you know, be a chemical engineer. It was the one who was just very, very, very stubborn and determined to
Hmm.
plow that damn field. Like to get all those trees and those rocks out of there,
Hmm.
and would just do it for 10 years, right? Like that's the person who thrived in that sort of environment. And I think to some extent we're kind of going back to that, where like you can now buy intelligence to some extent, and obviously it's not quite the same, but now it's like, well, you you know uh willpower is really important. So like that's not, like that is that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Is that like there's like a
Yeah.
balance here though, right? Because I guess and you guys must deal with this at HRF, but like on one hand, like AI is like enabling the state and even large corporations to a degree to actually become more
Yeah.
repressive. And then at the same time, you do
Yep.
have these like enclaves that can start to emerge
Yeah.
by using the same like subsets of the same technology. Like how do you find like balancing this as well? Because like I mean I include corporations only because I feel like at some point like a lot of the subsidies for tokens that the Anthropics and the Open AIs of the world are just going to
Yeah.
dry up, and these tools are going to become like 10 times more
Yeah.
expensive, and so that will just centralize that use back into the larger enterprises as well. Like how do you guys like balance this? Like do you guys think about how the tool can be so effective for repression at the same time it can be like enabling for agency? And
Yeah, exactly. My focus is more on the positive uses for it, just because I'm more knowledgeable there, right? Like I'm a tech guy, and then Alex and others throughout HRF focus more on the negative things because that's what they have a lot of experience on advocacy against like authoritarian regimes, and so I think we've done a few research reports, kind of looking into how. Yeah, we announced like two of them in November, and I think they were the first research reports in like 3 or 4 years that had been done uh, studying this, like how China's using AI to repress their citizens. And like this is something where it's a really important topic, but like nobody in academia writes on it. And, I wonder why.
Wonder why.
Yeah, I don't know, I wonder, what is his name? Like Isaac Stone Fish that was his name, has an interesting book about this, about why, why aren't there any movies critical of China since like 7 Years in Tibet, like that actually show,
yeah,
the things of that, like what the CCP did at various times, it's an interesting book, so yeah, that's kind of their focus. I don't have a lot to add there because I don't know much about it, but I cheered on for sure because it's, more of these in every country, including, Australia, United States. Like there's going to be like big governments are going to, there's a big new weapon and it's going to move, it could move the balance of power in their direction. And so, there's many ways to combat against it. But, another way of describing some of these activist groups is they're like civil society, right? They're like this third pillar, aside from business and government, that tries to hold both accountable. So even if you're not trying to like overthrow authoritarian regime, there's still a lot of roles for other, a healthy society is one where you have many nodes of power and they're all keeping each other, they're all competing and they're all keeping each other honest, and people can move between them, and you have a lot of healthy accountability and balance of power across different things. And it's always very bad when you have one industry, one banana industry, one oil industry, and one guy in charge. That's when you get the worst societies, right? So even for the activist groups that aren't pushing for like actual like regime change or something like that on the extreme end, there's many others that just try to hold powerful interests accountable and functional governments. And I think that's going to be really important, right? We're going to need more of these types of things holding ChatGPT or OpenAI, Anthropic, Palantir, U.S. government, Australian government, things that are more functional, like societies where the government is more functional. We're going to need a lot of stuff to hold them accountable as well that aren't like explicitly like partisan politics or that's the nice thing about HRF is it's not really a partisan organization. They don't really take they're not like a Democrat or Republican in the U.S., right? It's like this thing that just advocate for freedom, and they're kind of a one issue a thing, and they'll apply that very consistently no matter what the environment is, right? So yeah, I think anything like that is going to be really useful because we're not going to be able to count on the governments. We're probably not going to we're not going to be able to count on businesses to and we're not sometimes the political process doesn't get us there as well. So
yeah, I know when I look at it, I always think that it's like I prefer farmers markets to supermarkets, if you know what I mean. It's like the right sort of definition of just like it's you need lots of small amounts of power all over the place and less like all one big set of power in one place. And then when you look at like a very large government and a very large corporation, like it feels like half the world is like really mad at very large corporations and the other half is really mad at very large governments. And it's like that meme where it's like, corporate wants you to tell the difference. It's like, there's like what? Like it's just the problem is the big, not the business or the government. It's just the big. We need the small I'm like, so this gives me a lot of hope with a lot of this tech. Cause I'm like, well, all of a sudden the small can actually output more than the big. Like